There are better ways to keep cool. Call KS Services and receive a new Bryant unit with no payments and no interest for 18 months. Stay cool now and pay later. Visit callks.com for more.
Here's your weather video for this Sunday morning, August the 2nd. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray. We'll talk about Tropical Storm Isaias a lot this morning. Not so much about its impact on Alabama's weather, maybe the trough that's steering it to the north, its impact on Alabama's weather, but we will take a look at Isaias this morning. Let's look at Alabama, though. A cold front draped somewhere there just north of the I-59 corridor this morning. Temperatures this morning in the middle 60s. Over the northwestern corner of Alabama, a little bit of drier air has spread into that part of the state. 65 at Haleyville, 66 in Decatur, 68 up at UAH in Huntsville. We've got 70s, though, across the south central part of the state. We will notice a little bit cooler air over the next several days, thanks to this trough, a very unseasonable early August trough now. Across much of the midsection of the country. That's going to set up over the eastern part of the United States. You see that little blue dot down there off the Florida coast. That is Isaias this morning, getting ready to make the run up the east coast. Here is the system this morning off the Florida coast. Just had a wind gust to 48 miles an hour. No, I'm sorry, 56 miles an hour, 48 knots at Grand Bahama. Winds gusting to 38 miles an hour at Palm Beach and to 35 miles an hour at West Palm Beach. You can see the large center of Isaias this morning, just off the Florida coast, about 40 miles southeast of West Palm Beach, moving to the northwest at about 9 miles an hour, likely now to make landfall on the east coast of Florida as a slightly weaker system, weakening overnight to about 65 miles an hour. That kind of keeping it from being maintained offshore. It's going to actually kind of buzzsaw the coast, sort of like a weed eater today, taking it all day today and much of tomorrow to go up the east coast of Florida. Here's the cone of uncertainty from the National Hurricane Center, a very long map that we have to look at to get it all the way up into the Canadian Maritimes by Thursday. But you can see the track here. Tropical storm warnings now extend all the way up to just past Myrtle Beach. Tropical storm watch to past Wilmington. The hurricane warnings have been dropped for the U.S. They still have hurricane warnings in the Bahamas. And as you just saw, that 56 mile an hour wind at Grand Bahama. This is the earliest reasonable arrival time of tropical storm force winds all the way up the coast, overlaying over the probabilities of those tropical storm force winds. So as you can see, we could see those into the Myrtle Beach area Monday night, into the Mid-Atlantic, Chesapeake Bay area there late Monday night and Tuesday. I think that's going to be more into Tuesday. We'll see that as we go along with the European. Now, the threat of rainfall, heavy rainfall, is going to be one of the bigger problems with Isaias. Today, this is with the trough over the Smokies. You can see a marginal risk of flash flooding today. The western side of the storm just not that filled in with rainfall today. That's going to change as it moves inland, especially over the Carolinas and North Carolina, as we can see on the day 2 excessive rainfall outlook. Excessive rainfall likely over the Carolinas into North Carolina, or South Carolina into North Carolina. 5 to 8 inches of rain possible in that area, on up into the Mid-Atlantic, and that extends on into day 3. With more likely flooding parts of Virginia, eastern North Carolina by then. Storm surge also a problem. 2 to 4 feet along the Florida east coast today, 2 to 4 feet, especially there around Myrtle Beach, as the storm will probably be inland then, but that onshore flow pushing water into the coast. Now, we do have 94L out to the east of Isaias, about a 60% chance of development from it. I really hadn't expected that, and I'm not sure I'm too sold on that still, but the Hurricane Center, these guys know what they're talking about, so we'll be watching that. Should stay north of the islands, and the model's not real bullish on this just yet, but we'll be watching that through the day-to-day. I thought we were going to get through the next 2 weeks without anything new, but maybe not. Let's use the European because it sort of really close to what the track of the Hurricane Center is saying to kind of illustrate things. Here it is, 4 p.m. today. Probably this thing is a little closer to the coast at that point, I think. But you can get the general idea that it's moving slowly to the northwest along the Florida coast by 4 a.m. tomorrow. St. Augustine area, just south of Jacksonville. Again, probably just inland, moving to the northwest. Making that short jog over the ocean there as it begins to turn to the north by Monday afternoon, just off Savannah, as a 65-mile-per-hour tropical storm. Moves inland on the South Carolina coast Monday night. This is just north of Myrtle Beach. You see it here, Chesapeake Bay area by Tuesday afternoon. Heavy rain and wind in that area. Then by Wednesday morning, early Wednesday morning, it is accelerating to the north-northeast. It's past New York City. They'll experience 40 to 45 mile-an-hour winds in the Big Apple. You can see here it is already moving by this time into southern Vermont. Be rough conditions over all of New England at that point with wind and rain, wind and heavy rain over a wide area. And then by Thursday afternoon, it's well into Canada. Now, across Alabama, I don't know if you were noticing as we trailed along there tracking the hurricane, but showers and thunderstorms very hard to find. Slightly drier air, slightly cooler air. I say slightly, couple degrees, dew points, 2 or 3 degrees cooler than what we've been seeing, but just enough to keep us out of the shower and thunderstorm activity that we would normally see this time of year in Alabama. Now, that begins to return, as you see here, by Thursday, maybe a few isolated showers and thunderstorms. Then by Friday, again, still we're pretty much with a dearth of shower and thunderstorm activity. And then by Saturday afternoon, again, not much to look at. Sunday, maybe an isolated shower or storm. And then that next week begins to get a little better. This is, I'll use the 384-hour GFS as our look, out to the 17th, which is a very famous day in hurricane history. Of course, that's the day Hurricane Camille struck the Mississippi Gulf Coast in 1969. Of course, the Bermuda High, sprawling across the Atlantic, displaced a little further to the east, but no organized systems yet in the tropics at that point, according to the GFS. There's a strong tropical wave over the Western Caribbean, and that is where Hurricane Camille did form. This is at the end of the period, so we can't really tell you what happens after this, and this is voodoo territory after all, but we'll be watching that very carefully because the Atlantic waters are very warm, and we're in a pattern. Obviously, with the 9th named storm already, we wouldn't normally see that till October, and we've got it here on the 2nd of August. Now, temperatures in the Birmingham area, upper 80s today, upper 80s to lower 90s through the early part of the week. We begin to warm up by the end of the week. We'll be back in the middle 90s by the weekend. We might see a few of those middle 60s, maybe even as far down as the I-20 corridor by midweek. We'll see how that goes. Now, rainfall is going to be virtually non-existent through this week, so that will that's going to lead to some pretty dry conditions, but some normal rainfall patterns begin to reestablish themselves in that following week. And off the GFS, you see the control begins to inch back up toward 1.5 inches of rain in that next week, which is about what we would expect. The ensemble members trailing along with that too. Got a really exciting guest tomorrow night on Weather Brains. Make sure to join us. Author Eric J. Dolan, his new book, A Furious Sky, The 500-Year History of America's Hurricanes, will be coming out this week, and we'll be talking to him on the show. I don't think Isaias, hopefully, will make it into the addendum on Eric's book, The 600-Year History of America's Hurricanes. Hopefully that won't be the case, but I do fear that this season might get an entry somewhere along the way. Well, that's your weather video for this Sunday, August 2nd. I'll have notes on the blog and update on the forecast at noon. Of course, we'll have continuous running updates on Isaias as it makes its way up the East Coast over the next several days. And as it does, as I always tell you, I'll remind you to keep an eye to the sky because you'll always have something fun to look at.
Never wait for hot water again with a tankless water heater from Plumbing Experts. Tankless water heaters are easy, convenient, and now more affordable with a no-interest financing for up to 18 months. Stop with the cold showers and wasted water and call plumbing experts today.